less than a minute. Reminder, gentlemen, remove your hats. Not allowed in the council chambers, and we will start in less than a minute. Jeanette, you're ready to go?
We are ready.
Thank you. Call City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Dodson.
Here.
Burbank.
Here.
Boki.
Here.
McCann.
Here.
Spendy. Voss.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
And Mayor Jessup.
Here.
We have 6 of the council and the mayor present.
Thank you. Would everyone please rise as Councilmember Burbank leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone, on a beautiful start to the Fair Week. First up tonight, we have the council agenda, and I would look for a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion by Don to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate, any discussion?
Yes. I'd like to remove item 2.5.3. We're discussing this agenda, correct?
We're approving the agenda.
Okay, but I'd like to remove that from the consent agenda.
That would be handled once we get to consent.
No, he could change the order
Okay,
of the
okay.
agenda. He wants to move it from consent to an action item.
I'd like to remove it altogether.
Okay.
And the reason being, if you're looking for an explanation, I don't know as if I'm ready on Monday to proceed with the review. I don't know what other council members are thinking end to end. I don't know when the last time we've all gotten together for a private personnel meeting. And I think that that's something I would like to do before. I would like to have this discussed before we get, before we proceed with it. I'm hoping that we can do that maybe the 8th on the 24th. I think we could have a closed session because I think that meeting on the 24th for the review is the closed session, correct? So if we can have enough council people there, we could do that so that I would feel better getting my heads together with everyone else so I know what I'm doing. The other thing is there seems to be a little bit of misconception with this. These employee strategies are not an investigative firm. We've used these folks 3 times with Ms. Bussey, so this certainly isn't something that's new or unusual. It's a very good investment in our time and money to coalesce and collaborate all our thoughts and put it together on one thing. So I'm not against that. I would approve that we do that when the time is right. I am not ready to do that.
Mr. Walbrand, with what Mr. Boki said, would that violate open meeting law?
Been any second to this?
No. We won't wait for that first?
The next meeting, before this would have to be, when the meeting that was that scheduled to be. No, scheduled for. You're opposed to that?
Pardon me?
You are opposed to that?
I am opposed to, no, I wouldn't mind having the meeting, closed meeting, council members only, to discuss personnel. That's what I would like.
Let's keep this before on this agenda.
So he is asking what's this removed from the agenda board. has a motion for.
There's a motion on to remove item 2.5.3. Is there a second? Is there a second? Motion fails. We are now, once again, looking for council approval of tonight's agenda.
We have a motion, and we have a second, just need a vote.
We did. Okay, so all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Next up tonight, 1.2 is Mayor Jessup. Good evening.
Thank you, Council President Rainey. Just one item tonight. We have a police update. I'd like to invite Chief Mondale up at this time to give an update on the Ojai Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. This is going to be very brief. What I'd like to do and share an update is during the 5:30 City Council study session, we discussed flock automatic license plate reader cameras. So we talked about what it is, what it isn't, how we use them, summary of the laws and policies, and some local successes. So we're going to offer a update or a summary of what that study sessions look like, and we're going to offer that by the end of the week with the help of our communications team. We'll put something together for the public to take a look at that. Another update here is we are working on a sergeant's promotional process as a result of the retirement of Sergeant Matichak back on March 31st. We have a gap in our sergeant's ranks, and we've been working on a promotional recruitment process for that. We had all internal candidates, very outstanding candidates. It's been a very competitive process, and we're ending our final step in that promotional step review tomorrow with the assistance of HR. And then it'll be followed by a leadership assessment. We're hoping to make the assignment and the appointment by the end of November. Our candidate will be identified before I retire, which is the next order of business. So it's no surprise. After 31 years, I've announced my retirement back in June. I'll be retiring on September 18th. And what brings the exciting news is my partner, Captain Josh Sorensen, was named the next chief of police. So I would like to congratulate him. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Anything else, Mayor?
That's it tonight. Thank you, Council President Rainey.
Next, we're up to consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of city council meeting minutes, other board commission minutes, licenses, permits, and miscellaneous items all grouped together for the council to review prior to the meeting and vote on collectively. With that, I will entertain a motion on these consent agenda items.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Dave to approve. I have a second. Second by Don. Any further discussion? Nate?
So, Jenna, or Emily, can you walk through what the process is going to be? There was a lot of questions about the review process for you. What is the current timeline going to be for the review process with Andy?
Maybe I'll have Rachel. Rachel, do you want to speak to it? Does that work?
Yep.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the process would be on Monday, would be a closed session, like the typical process for the city administrator review, where you'd sit down with that third party and go through the review comments and collaborate with the mayor leading and facilitating that review along with that third party. And then through that meeting, the only thing discussed would be the performance review of the city administrator. There'd be no conversations of any contracts or anything like that. At the end of the review, you guys would come up with a summary that will then be presented at the next following council meeting.
And after our meeting, we're looking to follow up with Andy to present kind of our overall discussion, or how will that information be presented to Jenna?
Yes, so like typical process, Jenna would be involved in that portion where you guys discuss the review with her in that closed session meeting.
And I guess I would ask, Dan, is your concern that we don't have the ability to have that conversation without Jenna being there?
I would like to have a private conversation about personnel with counselors only. I don't need an outside consultant, just us.
Do we have the ability legally to do that, say, prior to our meeting with Andy? Be able to schedule that and do that?
Mark, can you confirm for us that the city administrator review process is one of the legal parameters in which council can have a closed session? So the conversation would need to focus on the city administrator review process, not just general staff performance or personnel issues. Okay. Does that clarify?
I think so, Dan, so I would ask the question, if we were able to do that prior to that meeting, would that
Yes,
be
I
acceptable?
if we could, if the 7 of us could be there.
You will just need to make sure that you do provide the summary of the results at the first open meeting following that closed session. So if you do want the third party then involved, you'll need to have 2 of those meetings prior to your next council meeting.
But we would be able to do a council-only session prior to the session with Andy.
Why don't you just do it the same day, the same time?
Right.
Yeah, you could wait to bring them in.
Or do we have the ability to post that now and meet the requirements?
It's
for
posted
posting?
already.
Right, but can we add another, or have we missed?
Add another hour to the time slot.
Right. Do we have the ability to make that change at this point?
We do.
Dan, would you be agreeable to that?
Yes, sir.
I think that's a reasonable request to have us meet prior. I would support that.
I think the meeting is scheduled for 8 o'clock.
Let's just start at 8 o'clock and we can close it.
Make it run
I
late.
start at 8 o'clock, and then when we're done, I call in whoever else we need to call in.
Any other questions for me? Yeah.
To confirm with Jeanette, that meets our time.
The meeting is posted, and it's just posted, it begins at 8 o'clock. There's no time, ending time onto it, so you're fine.
We can talk all day.
Rachel, my question relates to the 360 review. When we're doing the 360 review, that's also subordinates that are providing feedback, is that correct?
Correct, it helped lower the cost.
I'm sorry?
Correct, it helped lower the cost of going through a third party, was gathering some of those results ahead of time.
So it's both directions, from the top and
Yep.
going up, so. Okay, I just wanted to clarify, because that's what I'm familiar with when you say 360, it's both people.
Yep.
Underneath the city administrator plus people. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So what you're asking is, staff is also reviewing.
They provided feedback for you guys to review during the review.
Okay.
Any additional information from me?
This additional meeting would not violate open meeting law.
It's a closed meeting.
And it's posted.
It's posted. You can meet in a closed session.
Any other questions for Rachel? We have a motion second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're now up to the action items. First up, we have one ordinance tonight, 3.1.1, second final reading of proposed ordinance 26-07, to vacate a portion of drainage and utility easement, the Here's Edition number 4, and we go to Troy Plecker for that.
All right, as you mentioned, this is the second reading. It's property at 1636 St. Paul Road. There's a pending sale, and during the title work, there's an easement which lies underneath a portion of the house that would need to be vacated for the sale to go through. There are no utilities or drainage issues by vacating this, and so the public hearing, there was no comment. The planning commission recommended approval as well as staff. So again, this is the second reading for approval of this vacation.
Thank you. Any questions for Troy on this? Motion to approve. We have a motion by Doug to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Don. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Burbank.
Aye.
Bogie.
Aye.
Hanahan.
Aye.
Voss.
Aye.
Dodson. And Rainey. All 6 ayes.
Thank you. We have 5 resolutions tonight. First one is 3.2.1, Resolution 75-26, to award GO Street reconstruction and abatement for 2026 bonds, and we go to Emily with that. Good evening.
All right, good evening. As you noted, this resolution is regarding our bond sale. And in light of that, I'm going to invite Dan Tinter from our municipal advisor Ellers forward to present.
Good evening, President Ray, Mayor, Justice, members of the council. As mentioned, my name is Dan Tinter. I'm the Senior Municipal Advisor with Ellers and Associates. And I'm here to present the bond sale results for your general obligation, street reconstruction, and tax abatement bonds. As you may recall, we've been on a little bit of a journey with the bond sale. As mentioned in some of the materials that have been shared with the council previously, way back on May 19th, you actually considered the street reconstruction plan and held a public hearing for that portion of the process, went through a reverse referendum period without receiving a qualified petition. And then at that point in time, on July 21st, 2026, is actually when you considered the tax abatement program and conducted a public hearing related to the bonds for the improvements at the water park. At that meeting as well, you also authorized Ellers, bond counsel, and staff on your behalf to prepare the bond sale and accept bids. And we did so earlier today on your behalf at 10 a.m. As distributed to the council, you should have a pre-sale report that describes the bids that were received. Earlier today, there were 4 total bids. Of the 4, the low bidder was Baird out of their Milwaukee, Wisconsin office, and you may see actually in the bid tabulation that's included on the 3rd page of the pre-sale report, they had a rather large what we call syndicate, or a group of other banks and financial institutions that joined with them to offer on the bonds. So certainly a large group, and ultimately a true interest cost on those bonds at 3.516%, which was the low bidder. You may ask yourself, how does that compare to our original estimates? And at the time of pre-sale, we were projecting right around 3.702%. So you've come in about 19 basis points, or 0.185% lower than what we were estimating at that time. So ultimately a little better rate than what we were assuming about a month ago. As part of the bond sale as well, you also received a premium bid of $210,000 approximately, and we did work with the city administrator and assistant city administrator this morning and at their direction, and actually directed to use that premium to reduce the overall size of the bond. So ultimately you used that additional money to reduce the overall amount that you were borrowing. So you may note in the resolution for your consideration, after presentation of the pre-sale report, the overall principal size of the bonds has been reduced by $225,000 from the $3.15 million that was considered a pre-sale to $2,925,000 this evening to reflect that amount. So ultimately, you're borrowing a little less money, you're doing so at a little bit less of an interest rate, and overall the principal and interest on the bonds will be about $47,500 less than what we were planning about a month ago. Additionally, when we look at the 4 bids that were received, the spread between them was just about 5 basis points, so a fairly tight grouping among the 4 bids. You may ask yourself, is 4 bids a lot? Generally, we look for 3 or more. That tells us that we've had a good test of the market in terms of the number of bids and then the spread that we see among those bids, that they were essentially tightly grouped. And so we feel good that all of those different financial institutions that were offering on your bonds were essentially offering the same price, and that the low bidder tonight ultimately pipped the other 3 by just a few basis points. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions about the process that the city undertook to get to this point, the sale, or any questions about the bonds themselves. And I would also mention, President Rainey, that after this point in time, if it then be in order, the council could consider the revised resolution, which then includes that change in the par amount to reflect the adjustment as a result of the reoffering premium on the bonds.
Any questions on this?
Just a comment. I would like to believe that the competitive bids for bonds that the city of Owatonna is seeking as a result of our excellent bond rating and the show of fiscal responsibility that the city leaders show. Am I correct in saying that?
President Rainey, Councilmember Polk, yes, you are correct. Included in the pre-sale report, it does include a credit rating summary from Moody's Investor Services, who's the credit rating agency you work with. They had rated the bonds at AA1, which is essentially the second highest credit rating available to the city. And in that report, they did note some of the strong financial management as well as the reserves available to the city in managing your financial affairs, among other items.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, look for a motion to approve. So moved. Motion by Don to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
By Nate, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next up tonight is resolution 3.2.2, 76-26, pledge of tax increment financing for air apartments in back to Troy.
All right, thank you. Construction of air apartments along Bixby Road is now complete and tenants are starting to move in. And I think last I heard we were pretty close to 50% of the units being leased. Tax increment financing was approved to assist with this redevelopment project as 20 of the units are affordable. The existing TIF development agreement is with Stadheim Properties of Owatonna. And to complete the financing of the project is been requested the TIF development agreement be pledged to the lender, Old National Bank. The proposed resolution would need to be adopted and the council would need to sign the pledge agreement to complete the action. TAP law. The city development attorney has reviewed the request and drafted the proposed resolution for adoption. There is no budget impact. The agreement is still in place, just with a different entity. So staff would recommend approval. We have done this on a few other projects in the past for financing. Sometimes the bank wants to ensure that that is pledged to them to secure the financing.
Thank you. Any questions for Troy? Hearing none, look for a motion to approve.
So move.
Motion by Dan to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Doug, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Our next resolution is 3.2.3, resolution 77-26, the loan agreement for the workforce housing development program, and once again, Troy.
All right, as part of the apartments project, the project was awarded a deferred loan from the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency which the council approved as part of the project. This is through the Workforce Housing Development Program. The loan is to help projects, typically in southern Minnesota, to provide more workforce housing in communities. The loan will assist with the construction costs throughout the project and will be forgiven upon completion of the project. The apartments project is nearing completion, and staff is recommending approval of a loan agreement to be entered in with the developer before the last draw on the loan is made. So this was done in 3 steps. 2 of the draws have been made. We have 1 more to be done. We're proposing a loan agreement with Stadheim Properties to put the responsibility of repaying the loan on the developer rather than the city should the loan be repaid. Now, all indications from Minnesota Housing, this workforce project is really to assist with the costs of the development, and once the project is complete, it will be deferred. So we have no reason to think that it would need to be repaid, but this is just an extra insurance policy for us. This ensures the city has no financial obligation with this loan should it need to be repaid. Once approved and signed, the city would then make the last draw on the loan for the developer for the completion of the project. So again, no budget impact on us. This agreement really puts the obligation, should it need to be repaid, and again, we have no reason to think it is, on the developer rather than the city through this workforce housing program. So staff would recommend approval of the proposed resolution.
Thank you. Any questions for Troy? Motion to approve. Motion by Doug to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dan, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Our next resolution, 3.2.4, 78-26, state appropriations to acquire flood-prone property at 614 North Oak Avenue, and back to Troy.
All right, so we have done this many times. We've purchased and removed over 30 homes in the floodplain utilizing grants from the state and federal government. as part of our ongoing flood mitigation efforts. And if you remember, these flood mitigation efforts started probably 20 years ago. We've had a number of flooding incidences, one being the southeast area part of town being flooded. From that, we created 8 different stormwater projects that were completed over, I want to say, the next 5 to 7 years. In addition to that, we had our 2010 flood, which was river and stream flooding, resulted in a number of houses being flooded and a lot of work with FEMA sort of get everybody back on their feet. So as part of all of those events, the city has put together a flood mitigation plan. One of the items of that, in addition to all the projects that I mentioned, the 8 projects, is eventually removing properties within the floodplain. So we've been applying for grants. This is all purchases that are, we have a willing seller that's negotiated. There's no, it's all at the will of the property owner. So over time, when people are ready to sell, we've been in contact with most everybody right after the flood. And so when they're ready to sell, they'll make contact with us. If we can get a grant, we'll pursue a grant and pursue purchase. So this has happened over probably a 20-year period, resulting in 30-some houses being removed. We did 2 of them last year, one on Lamont Road and one on Cherry Street. And so we were contacted by the owner of 614 North Oak about selling their property. This is a higher priority for us, and so we did pursue a grant. We estimate the cost of the whole project at $220,000, so the grant award would be $110,000. Would need to be matched by local funds to remove the home, and the proposed resolution is needed to have the grant dollars awarded to us. And then the next item, I'll talk about the house itself. So staff would recommend approval of the proposed grant resolution.
Thank you. Any questions for Troy? Doug?
Troy, I know we've done a lot of these, and this is an example of why we saved some money in those funds to do. I believe the DNR has been a little more generous in the past, so that's where this money's coming from?
Yes, so over time, there are different types of grants that they will have available. When we have a flooding event and we're declared a disaster area, grants at that point in time were 100%. So we actually secured quite a bit of grant dollars to do 100% coverage of purchase, and we did purchase a number of them at that time. So when we're not within a flood time and a hazard period, more generally we would have availability of 50% grants, and that's what we have here.
I like the 100% better.
Well, we would need to have flood and need to be a significant amount of damage to get that, so
Okay,
we might not want to wish that.
Any other questions? Don?
Just a point of clarification, Troy. The city does have dilapidated building funds, right? So it's not
Yes,
like, okay.
yes, so we have, and again, this is part of our flood mitigation efforts here, have designated funds set aside over a number of years. We put a little bit in to be able to address situations just like this. So we have a dilapidated building fund, so our half would then come out of that fund.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
One motion by Don to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Our final resolution tonight, 3.2.5, 79-26, to purchase the property at 614 North Oak Avenue. Troy, anything to add?
Well, yeah, so specifically about this property, it is the lowest line along North Oak there. It sits about 2 feet, the ground around it sits about 2 feet lower than any of the other homes. So should we have a flood event on Straight River in that area, this would be the first to be flooded and receive the most flood water. We do have a signed purchase agreement contingent on City Council approval and getting the grant award to purchase it for $170,600, which is the assessed value of the property. And for these grants, we need some documentation as to the value of the property, and in this case, it's the assessed value. We're estimating about $50,000 for asbestos removal and demolition. I think that's a high figure. We did put in the grant a higher figure just to ensure that we had grant money to cover everything. And I would bet that we're gonna come in under that. So the estimated cost of the project is $220,000. Again, half would be covered by the grant, half would be covered by our dilapidated buildings fund, which is set aside for these sort of projects. If there are costs that run under the 220, we would just retain our half, obviously, and any unused grant dollars would be returned to the state. So staff would recommend approval of the resolution to purchase the property at 614 North Oak.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Dave?
Troy, could that house be used for fire department training?
Yes, and so we typically, on all of these, when we do have possession of it, we do allow the fire and police department to do training in it. It's a new space for the staff, so they don't know exactly the layout in it. So those are situations that they like to have to provide training for our staff.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
So once again, this is money that we've wisely set aside, that we sometimes get critiqued for not doing, right? We set money aside. This isn't affecting asphalt, wisely done by councils and staff.
Any other questions? Hearing none, for motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Don to approve, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Second by Dave, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Troy. Good, you can have the rest of the night off. We have one miscellaneous item tonight, 3.3.1, a cooperative agreement for paving, striping, and markings with Steele County. And for that, we go to City Administrator Tuma.
Yeah, thank you. I did give Sean Murphy, our Public Works Director, the night off and decided to take his agenda item for him. But tonight we're just seeking approval for that 2026 pavement, striping, and marking project with a cooperative agreement with the county. Both the city and the county have requirements to stripe and mark pavement. The agreement creates an operational and cost efficiency by adding the city's street striping and marking needs into the county's project or project and contract. And so with that, there's a cost savings by doing that. Our portion of that is estimated at $14,252 and some change. And this would be paid out of the operating budget, so staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Any questions on this?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Doug to approve, do I have a second? Second by Nate, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Mr. President, due to another obligation in my life, I need to leave the meeting now.
Jeanette, if you can note that, please. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Good evening. We are now up to our staff report, and tonight we have Jason Ringhofer, our facilities manager. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, President Rainey. Tonight I'm here to present on a high-level recap of 2026 facility projects, both prior, present, and future. Our first project that we started this spring was our wastewater treatment facility kitchen cabinets. This project we started, we are in the midst of it right now, but because of weather turning and getting nice outside, we decided to start going outside and working when we can. So this one is in process. Our second project that we began this spring was the River Springs Water Park. As many of you know, due to the delay Due to some unforeseen leaks at the water park, we had a delay, and with a collaborated effort from a bunch of departments here, wastewater treatment facility helping with the plumbing to fix, the parks department helping with retrieving parts for us and reporting out to the public what stages we were at and trying to get the park up and running, and the administration with constantly challenging us and how we can provide the same product without any kind of delays, but do it speedier and quicker. And as well as our fire department with helping assist filling it up quicker. And here's a few photos of the project in the process. There's a crack. And I'm happy to announce that we are open today, and it has been reported that supposedly we have record attendance, so that's a win. Our second project that I'm going to talk about today was our library roof that received the 2025 storm damage, and chimney that is. Happy to announce that today it's complete. This July, we were able to get that from Frederickson Masonry completed, and it looks beautiful. And our final project that we are working on and started right now is 2 covered shelters out at Brooktree Golf Course. These are just starting, we're just getting out of the ground right now. We are hoping to finishing these up early this fall, because we do have one more project behind that we would like to get to, and that would be at our tennis and pickleball building. There is a failed landscaping wall that we do have a permit pulled for, and hopes to work with streets on completing that project. So that's what I have.
Any questions for Jason? Thank you. Great report. We're now up to public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please approach the microphone, sign in, and state your name and address for the record after being acknowledged by the council president. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes to deliver their comments. Councilmember McCann will be timing and hold up a hand after 2 minutes 45 seconds to notify the speaker they have 15 seconds to complete their comment. Those speaking are asked to conduct themselves in a respectful manner as they deliver their comments. Audience members are asked to refrain from reacting to comments. The City Council will not respond directly to comments in this venue or take immediate action in response to them. With that, it is open.
Good evening, Melissa Zimmerman. I would like to thank council members for the discussion regarding the consent agenda item for the city administrator's review. I know I had several questions and concerns, and it sounds like others did as well. I want to clarify that my questions are not in opposition or in support of the proposed agenda item. They were questions about the process itself. The consent agenda is generally intended for routine, non-controversial items that can be approved together without discussion. This may ordinarily have been a routine item, however, given the amount of public discussion surrounding the city administrator lately, right or wrong, I don't think a $12,000 consultant contract related to the evaluation is a routine item and should just be approved without explanation. That is why I asked for it to be pulled. I would like to understand what exactly the $12,000 pays for, what the consultant will provide, why an outside consultant is being used rather than the council conducting the evaluation itself, and what the overall process will look like. Pulling an item from the consent agenda doesn't mean someone is accusing the city of doing something wrong. It simply creates an opportunity to publicly explain the expenditure and the process. It also allows the discussion to be reflected more clearly in the meeting minutes. During a contentious period, I think having that public record actually protects the city more as much as it informs the public. I'm still not sure I understand exactly what we are purchasing for $12,000. I don't think I'm alone in that. Maybe somebody can explain that during council comment tonight. I would also ask that the explanations and discussions that were had be reflected with enough detail in the minutes that someone reading them later can understand what was considered and why. Finally, for the public's understanding, the city administrator's performance evaluation is required annually, and Minnesota law permits portions of the performance evaluation to occur in a closed session. I completely agree with the employee's actual performance review should not be conducted in public. But the confidentiality of a performance evaluation is different than asking questions about the public process and the expenditures of a $12,000 contract in taxpayer money to conduct it. I think the public can respect the administrator's right to an appropriate evaluation process while still asking council to explain what the taxpayers are paying for and how that process will work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening?
I'm Natalie Plumley. This will be real quick.
Good evening.
My comments more on the work session of the clock cameras. It's real simple. I'm having a hard time understanding because I listened to the presentation. It sounds wonderful tool for the OPD. But why are so many other city and towns canceling their contract? Not renewing them, but they're canceling the contract. And I think it's something you guys need to look into, why other cities and towns in Minnesota are canceling that. So I am to assume we're safe here, everything's handled correctly, but in other cities and towns it's not, and they're canceling them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak tonight?
Hello, Carolyn Stoffer, Middletown resident. Personally, I love flock cameras. They make me feel safer, they help solve crime, and without those pesky warrants or the assumption of innocence, we can help the suspects when there's not even a crime being committed. My only concern with Owatonna's contract with flock is the price tag. A $24,000 annual subscription, and we don't even own the cameras. However, before I brought up a concern such as this one, I wanted to test out a solution on my own. So I went down to the bar on Thursday night, and I found 8 guys who were willing to work for cheap. I sent them down to some various roads and intersections in town with a camera and a notebook, and I asked them to photograph each vehicle that drove past, write down any identifying features, who was driving, where they were going. Then I let them just compare that information amongst themselves to give our surveillance just a bit more mass. And this experiment has worked just beautifully. For a fraction of the price of this flock contract, we've been able to watch the movements of anyone coming into or out of town, and I feel so safe. Especially because anyone accessing this information needs to give a rock-solid reason for the investigation, such as the word investigation or search. And they have pinky promise that they'll get rid of this information after 30 days. And I know that this feels a little bit out there. The people of Owatonna didn't get to choose whether I employed these gentlemen to stand out there, or didn't get to decide who has access to their location history. Some of these guys that I've hired have used their positions and access to information to stalk their ex-girlfriends or ex-wives. Some of my guys down in Texas will chat with my guys up here in Minnesota, make sure that no one's crossing state lines for medical care. One of my guys in the bar, he did get caught using pictures from a children's gymnastics center as well as a children's pool in order to convince others to utilize this system. Sometimes my guys will just fully write down the wrong license plate number, and it leads to families with 5-month-old babies being pulled out of vehicles and handcuffed at gunpoint. And sometimes, if you ask them to stop and you stop paying them, they'll just keep doing it until you put up something to obstruct their view. That's a lot. So let me make you feel just a little bit safer about my guys who are that I hired. There's absolutely nothing that they are doing that flock cameras are not currently doing in Owatonna, Minnesota.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Seeing no one coming forward, we'll close that portion. We're now up to council comment. First up tonight is Councilmember Dotson.
Good evening. I will indulge Ms. Zimmerman on her comments regarding the performance review. We have utilized this in the past. It has actually worked very well for us as a council to get some of that input from the subordinate staff and help us formulate a coherent review of the city administrator. We are not deeply involved in day-to-day actions in the city, so this does allow us to get some of that. I agree, it's expensive. I wish it cost less. But they do a very good job of compiling information for us. It also gives us an opportunity to have an outside set of eyes and ears, fill us in on kind of some of the things they're hearing from staff. So I wish it cost less, yes I do. We've tried a bunch of different formats for performance reviews in my 16 years on the council, and this is probably the most useful route we have taken. That's that.
Thank you. Councilmember Burbank.
I can't add anything more to what Nate just said.
Councilmember Bulkey.
Nothing further.
Councilmember McCann.
Nothing.
Mr. Mayor.
See you at the fair.
City Administrator Tuma.
It's hard, but no comment.
Okay, now for me, I agree with Nate. $12,000, it's expensive, but I feel we get a lot of benefit out of that. The extra eyes on that are always well appreciated. It's, it's just unfortunately part of the ongoing process of government in action. So, with no other business before us.
Can I do one more? I'm sorry, Council President. Can we,
Oh,
Emily's
I'm
got
sorry.
an announcement.
Yes, Emily.
I would just like to welcome a new member to the City of Owatonna team. We have Annie Harmon, I apologize, who joined our team in the communications specialist role last week. So welcome, Annie.
Yes, welcome. With no other business before us, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Dan to approve, to adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're adjourned. Please, everyone leave in a timely manner. Thank you.
See you.